Namaste. So happy that you're able to join today. Namaste from the foothills of the Himalayas. Welcome to you. Today we want to speak about the need of the hour, and that is to expand our vision of the world so that we can develop a global perspective. A global perspective is a perspective which has as its root the understanding that the world, the entire world, is my family. Vasudev Kutumbakam. This is an ancient Vedic ideal, and this is the ideal that the world needs so urgently today, to understand that the world is my family. The idea that we are separated from one another, the idea that only my interests matter, the idea that we can put ourselves first and not think about the consequences to the rest of the world family, this idea is completely outdated today. Today, we have to realize that everything we do as individuals affects the entire world. The entire universe reacts to individual action. The conflicts, the dissension, the disharmony prevalent in the world are all based on ignorance. In the state of ignorance, differences predominate in one's awareness, to the exclusion of the underlying unity of life. By focusing on the differences between cultures, between traditions, between ideologies, between isms, artificial barriers are erected, which actually divide life from itself. In the state of ignorance, one focuses on the material aspect of life and forgets the underlying unity of life. One's entire attention is gripped by the field of diversity, the field of change, and one loses sight of the underlying wholeness of life. And then, as a result of this, one inevitably faces problems, mistakes, and suffering in life. An incoherent quality of social consciousness actually produces conflicts and warring tendencies in society. If nations focus on developing weapons of mass destruction and amassing more and more power, more and more land to assert their dominion over other nations, if the aim is to just accumulate more wealth, to become a superpower in order to force other nations to bow to their commands, the result of such actions will necessarily be suffering. Every action which actually damages the fabric of life causes suffering, and the universe reacts to individual actions. One who only puts oneself first before others will naturally face the consequences, and anyone who destroys will be destroyed, and anyone who nourishes life will be nourished by life. A high degree of concentration of negative forces without positive forces to balance them always ends in destruction and suffering in life. Maharishi says, don't reject anything or anyone that comes to us in life, because if we do so, we will be rejecting ourselves. Every situation we face is our own doing, created by our own karma. Everything and everyone is just a part of one's own self. And if we reject anyone or anything, we are damaging ourself, our wholeness. And this will only diminish yourself and cause us greater suffering. End quote. We cannot alter the events in the world, but we can certainly change the way we respond to those events. We can respond in ways which add to the fear, anxiety, and sadness in the world, or we can respond with love, compassion, and forgiveness. In this way, through empathetic thinking and action, we paint a brighter future picture of our world. We must become aware of the common thread linking all living beings. That thread is the unified field, the field of pure consciousness, the deepest level of life itself. This underlying field of pure consciousness is the unifying basis of all life everywhere. And when we put our attention on that level of life, then we find that we're anchored in the wholeness of life, and we're not a football at the mercy of changing situations and circumstances. We find that we're anchored in that wholeness of life, and we begin to be able to appreciate that every expression of diversity has its source in the unified field. And when we expand our vision to encompass all living beings, we really become like a citizen of the universe. We become like a citizen of the whole world, and then we begin to live that Vedic aphorism, the world is my family. Maharishi has said, and I quote, many years ago Maharishi said this, and it's as relevant today as it ever was. And I quote, "This year, think big. Think big. Think of everything beautiful for you and your world. Think of heaven on earth. Think of the elimination of poverty for the world. No longer should we be stuck with our little mind. No longer should we use our nervous system for little problems. We should use our nervous system for the revelations of the cosmic mind. Our mind should no longer be restricted to narrow boundaries, particularly the boundaries of patriotism. The world is a family. We should have in our mind that I own the universe, and then the universe will own you. We will become masters of natural law." End quote. So this is really our ideal, to become masters of natural law and to own the whole universe in our awareness. This is what I wanted to share with you today, and thank you so much for coming. Namaskar from the foothills of the Himalayas. Namaskar and very, very best wishes to you.